What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to talk about what do you need to do to get water damage referrals into your restoration business, specifically referrals from plumbers. Let's go. All right, guys, so as we get started, I first want to share this. In this video, we're going to talk about what is it that you need to do to build a plumber referral program. We're also going to talk about the biggest mistakes that I see made when you're trying to build the referral program. And then we're also going to talk about the challenges that you're going to incur. Guys, there's what you need to do, there's the mistakes that you're going to make, and there's going to be the challenges. And I'm also going to share with you the keys for success. The fourth item is the keys for success. And if you stick around to the end of the video, we will even break down our Plumber Script. This is the exact script we used at my company to land the best plumbers in the state of Tennessee, and it's exactly what I give to my clients now that join our top end mastermind program. So we're going to break it all down for you today for free. In case you don't know my story, guys, plumbers changed my life. I went from living in this dumpy rental to within 5 years we were able to move into this dream home. And when I tell you it changed my life, it just did. And I know that you can do it because it's all about just building relationships. It's not about selling. You've heard me talk about servant marketing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to share with you the pitfalls and the struggles that I had, and you'll probably find too. Let's get going. Let's talk about what at a core level, guys. I want to make this very simple for you, but then it's also going to feel complex. I don't know how that's possible, but that's probably what you're going to find, okay? Let's talk about the simple part. When it comes to plumbers, here's all you got to do. You got to find out what they want and give it to them. You got to find out what they want and give it to them. That's all you got to do. What are they going to want? It's going to depend. Guys, some plumbers are going to want referral fees. Some plumbers are going to want leads. They don't want money. Some plumbers are going to want free dryouts. Some plumbers are going to want a combination of all three. Some of them might not want any of those. What I'm telling you is this. Your job is to find out what they want and give it to them. That is what you have to do, okay? That is your core goal. In this video, we're going to break down the other options of what you might find, okay? But I'm just telling you, don't lose sight of what the core goal is. You got to find out what they want and give it to them. Problem is, it ain't that easy. So let's talk about some of the biggest mistakes. So if we know what we got to do, find out what they want and give it to them, what are some of the mistakes that we see? Well, the first big mistake that I've seen is not knowing what they really want. When you don't know what they want, what are you going to do? Let me tell you a quick story. This is about a guy, his name was Armando, and he was watching one of my videos from last year, and I was talking about my Plumber Script, and I went up giving it to him, let him go through it, and he used the Plumber Script, okay, and he used it on a plumber there in his local town, and the plumber started sending him jobs, like wasn't getting anything from him, ran the Plumber Script on him, and he started getting jobs from him. So he contacted me, he goes, hey, what's up, Shane? He was like, hey, I just want to say thank you for the Plumber Script, it worked, I did it, and I got jobs, and I have a question for you. I was like, well, what's up, buddy? He's like, what do I do? I was like, well, what do you mean? He was like, well, he sent me a couple jobs. I just want to know, what should I do? Should I pay him? And I was like, well, did he ask you to pay him? He goes, no. I said, well, I don't know if I would pay him then. And he goes, okay. And I could tell that he was confused, but let me tell you why. If the plumber didn't ask for money and then you just go throwing money at him, you don't know if that's what he really wanted. You're just kind of assuming that's what he wanted, right? Think of it this way. And this is kind of a joke, but it's really not. Let's assume that you go out on a date, okay? And you go out on a date and this girl, you guys have a great night. You go to dinner, maybe go grab a drink. You take her home and you do the thing, guys, okay? It's a nice, organic, sweet, love-making, brown chicken, brown cow kind of night. You know what I mean? Like, it's beautiful. It worked out. It was organic. Well, imagine the next morning you roll over and you're like, hey, I just want to say thanks. That was awesome. Hey, how much do I owe you? $200 good? $300? Or you tell me. You take Amex? Like, do you understand the irony in that? And like, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. If she didn't ask for money, do you understand that when you try and just toss $200 at her, you're kind of calling her a whore? I'm serious. If the plumber didn't ask for money, he might have assumed, oh, that you're different. Finally, you're different. And like, when you go throw money at him blindly, no, you're not different anymore, okay? You're not different. Find out what they want and give it to them. And if you don't know, then that's fine. Hit the brakes, but don't assume anything, okay? You need to find out what they want. That leads me into number 2. Don't assume they're all the same. Don't assume they're all the same, okay? Prostitutes gonna want some money. Church girls ain't gonna want no money, baby. They ain't gonna want no money. And you need to know which one you're dealing with. You need to know which one you're dealing with. And if you don't, you need to find out before you assume, okay? Can you understand what happens when you guess wrong? It's bad, okay? You can go from like a positive position to a neutral position to a negative position like real fast, just as fast as you can throw her a 20. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to find out what they really want, and you can't assume that they're all the same. First problem, not knowing what they want. Second problem, assuming you know what they want, all right? You can't treat them all the same. These are relationships, all right? That's my wife texting me while I'm trying to make a video. All right, here's the third problem that I see. And this is one that I was specifically guilty of myself. Not having the right plumbers as targets. Man, when I first got started, I thought a plumber's a plumber's a plumber. And baby, that ain't the case at all, okay? There's all kinds of different things. Like saying all plumbers are the same is kind of like saying, all fish are the same when they ain't all the same, baby. Like if you want to eat some salmon and some white tuna for a rainbow roll with some sushi, you don't want raw catfish and raw carp. That's not what you're looking to eat, okay? So yeah, they're both fish, but they're far different. You got to be more specific, okay? So how do you know which plumber's good for you? Well, here's one of the problems that I also made. I just gauged it by how big the company was, like how many trucks they had. Well, here was the problem with doing that. If you don't know what services they offer, how many trucks they got could just be an amplification telling you how bad you're off in guessing, okay? So let me tell you this. If you've got a plumbing company that has one truck, but they do service work, when there's a leaky dishwasher, there's a leaky sink, if there's a leak in water heater, somebody's going to call that dude, and that's all he's going to see is leaks, okay? But if you've got another plumbing company that has 20 trucks, but they do some level, if not mostly, construction, because most of them, if they do construction, they do a lot of it, okay? Well, they got 20 trucks, so you'd figure they're better, right? Well, no, they don't work after hours. They don't do any service work. And the only time they're going to call you a water damage is going to be a warranty job because they screwed something up because it's a new home that they installed. And you don't want warranty jobs, okay? So you understand, like you got to know what it is you're looking at. You can't treat all plumbers the same, and you can't go based on the size of the trucks of the company, okay? So you need to know what services do they do. You're looking for plumbers that do service work, not construction, okay? And so that's a gradient that you're going to be looking at. Know what type of plumbers you're looking for. Service plumbers, not construction plumbers, okay? Now, that's going to lead me back into the next one. What type of service? Well, they can service commercial properties or they can service residential properties. Well, those are completely different plumbers. They are different plumbers. And here's what you're going to find. The companies that are good at residential plumbing are different plumbers than the ones that do a lot of commercial plumbing. Now, this isn't across the board everywhere, but it's pretty close, okay? Like, the franchise is like Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, okay? Like, they don't do a bunch of commercial work. They specialize in residential, and that's what I'm going to tell you that you want. Why? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's assume that you've got a plumber. He's a commercial plumber. Well, here's why they're not as attractive. Number one, if they get called out to a property, it's going to be a commercial building in most cases. There's no building owner on site, okay? And so who called that commercial plumber out? In many cases, it's going to be the property manager, okay? And you want your contract to be signed with the building owner, okay? So the plumber can't even refer the water damage to you because he's going to call the property manager, and the property manager will already have their network of people for who they want to send that water damage job to. Are we clear? So on commercial, the plumber's going to defer to the property manager. The property manager's already got that handled. Now let's look at it on the other side. If it's a residential plumber, there's no property manager involved. Well, most likely anyway. But if it's a residential plumber, it's going to be Billy at Atme Plumbing, and Miss Jane Doe is the homeowner. And she's right there behind him, okay? So when he sees a leak, he just says, hey, ma'am, you want to come take a look at this? And bam, that plumber right there can refer you to a decision maker, okay? They can refer you to a decision maker. And I'm just going to tell you while we're here, residential insurance policies are easier to read. They're less complex. When you get into multifamily dwellings and commercial dwellings and commercial policies, those are really hairy, dude. First few years of business, steer clear of those, okay? Lest you find out. The residential single-family homeowners policies are the ones you're looking for. Those are the best. Hopefully we've cleared up now why residential plumbers is better than commercial plumbers. Now, here's the fourth thing that I see in terms of a mistake. Most people underestimate what it takes to really build a $1 million relationship. Most people highly underestimate what it takes to build a $1 million relationship. Guys, I'm just going to tell you this, like, building a relationship with somebody takes time. And these are humans, and we're dynamic creatures. We have good days, we have bad days, we don't feel like talking some days. The biggest problem I see is that you're going to attack this problem. You don't bring the proper amount of tenacity or vigor, okay? Like, you've got to be ready to choke this thing out with two hands. And you got to really be ready. And most people, they take kind of a blasé approach. I don't even know if blasé is a word, okay? But if it is, that's what they do. And so They're just not intense enough. You got to be very, very intentional. They just don't put enough energy and effort into it, okay? And that's probably something that you're going to find too. Like, you got to treat it like it's $1 million, baby, because I will, and I will take it from you. Don't underestimate what it takes to build $1 million relationship. It's worth it. Now, here's the fifth and final mistake that I see. Baby, it can't be about the money. Even if they will allow you to pay them a referral fee, you can't let it be about the money. It might start about the money, but it can't remain about the money. If you let it remain about the referral fee, guys, all I got to do is come in and pay the same amount or 10% more or 20% more, and all of a sudden I get to take them away from you. You don't want to have to argue with the highest bidder. You want to make it about more than the money, okay? Win as soon as you can. As soon as you can. You want it to be where they won't accept anybody's money other than yours. Why? Because it's not about the money, because you serve them on so many other levels, on so many other arenas, that it's not about the money. In an ideal situation, you would incentivize the technician and then do something bigger or better for the general manager or the owner. What? Whatever the hell they want. Whatever they want, as much as they want, okay? You want to have this long lever where you are way more valuable to them than they are to you. Don't get me wrong. They still got to be very valuable to you, okay? And they will be. And if they're not, we can address that. Let me give you a really good one. This is a side note, bonus note, ADD moment. Whenever we wind up getting referrals, first off, one of the things that we had is, what you're going to find eventually, is some plumbing companies don't want their guys to get referral fees. Some of the best plumbing companies don't want their guys to get referral fees, like at all. I would offer to pay them and try to pay them and try to incentivize them, because it's a lot easier to make a dog sit when you give it a treat. It's easier to make a dog sit when you give it a treat. Well, they wouldn't let me give their dogs treats. That was a bigger challenge for me. When I told the owner, hey, we'll do all these other things for you, free dry outs, any of that other stuff, but 4-to-1, that's what I want, right? And here's what I would tell them. I don't want your money. When they screwed something up, I would do it for free. I did not want their money, and you, my friend, don't want to take their money either. You want them to be so valuable to you that their money is worthless to you. Their money is worthless to you. And how do you do that? They need to be referring you at least 4 water damages that convert to claims for every free dry out or whatever it is you're doing to them. 4-to-1. Just remember that. So it just can't remain about the money. The minute that you start to get in the door, you've got to find out why they started using you, why they gave you a shot. It's going to take us down to the next step, which is this. Let's talk about the biggest challenges, because those are the mistakes. Here's the challenge you're going to have. The first big challenge, number 1, find out what they actually want. That's not as easy as you think. Let me ask you a question. When you were 12, what did you want to be when you grew up? When you were 20, what did you want to be when you grew up? What do you want 5 years from now? What do you want next year? Oh, you don't know, do you? You don't know. They don't know either, dude. You understand? They don't know. It's just that simple, okay? They don't always know what they want. And this is where we go back to, like, we're assuming that they want money, so we shove money down the throat. And in the absence of knowing a better thing, they just say, okay, leave me alone, give me the $600, okay? And I'm telling you, you got to find out what they actually want, not what they'll take. Find out what they want. That's good. There's a difference between finding out what they'll take and finding out what they want. There's a difference between finding out what they'll take and finding out what they want. You got to find out what they want, and they don't know. Think about it this way. Have you ever been hungry, but you didn't know what you wanted to eat? There's another example. So why can't they want something in return, but they don't know what it is, okay? So you got to be patient with them until y'all can figure that out. Don't rush it. Don't assume it, okay? Don't go throw her 20. Finding out what they actually want, that's going to be a challenge, okay? And it's going to take time. You got to be patient. The second big thing you've got to be able to do is differentiate yourself from others. Now, this is going to be on a couple different levels. Like, how are you going to differentiate yourself from others before they ever send you a job, right? That's going to be like in the marketing stuff. And then once you finally do get a referral from them, maybe it's a referral fee, or maybe you've got something put in place. How are you differentiating what you do for them in a way that's separate from everybody else? You got to find a way to be super valuable to them. Did I just say valuable? Valuable? You got to be very valuable to them. I don't know why I can't. Valuable. You got to be very valuable to them, and you've got to be able to separate yourself from the competition. What does that mean? It doesn't matter. You've got to be different, and you've got to be worth more to them than anybody else is. When you do that, you're in pretty good shape. Okay? They got to know you. They got to like you. They got to trust you. And then you want it to be about you being different and more valuable than anybody else. Okay? The third big thing you're going to struggle with is this: getting them to finally send you that first job. Like, it's going to be a struggle to find out what you need to do to get them to send you that first job. But that's a milestone, okay? And it's not the milestone, but it is a milestone. You're going to struggle. You got to find out what is it that you got to do to get them to send you that first job. And just as the servant marketing, guys, you've heard me talk about it. You just got to beg for it. You got to beg for it. And not beg for the referral, but beg for a way to serve them. Find a way to serve them. Find out what they want. Find out what they need. Find out what they need. That's a good way to find out what they want. Find out what they need. They usually will want to get their needs met. And it's harder to say what you want, but if you can get them to think about the needs, that'll probably be a good way. So, and I'll share with you guys what our secret was, at least for that anyway. So number 3 was to get that first job. That's going to be a challenge. Now, the 4th thing is once you do get that job, this is a big one too. Most people overlook this. You got to find out, why did they finally give you that job? Why did they finally give you that lead or that opportunity? Here's why that matters. If this is not the first time you've ever spoke to them or the first time you've ever called them, let's say you've called them 2 or 3 times or seen them 4 or 5 times and you never got anything from them. Well, suddenly you do today. Why? Why? Was it something that you were doing wrong in the past? Was it something that you just did right now? Is it something that changed in their business? Did their Romeo screw up? You need to know what it is. Do you follow me? You got to know. You got to find out because you got to care. You got to know. If you don't find out what it was, and if it's something that they screwed up, their other referral partner, and you don't find out what it was, there's a good chance you're going to repeat that same mistake, and you deserve to lose them because you didn't go through the trouble of finding out why they finally sent you that first job, okay? So those are the 4 big challenges you're going to find. Now let's talk about just some keys for success. The first thing, we talk about this. Make sure you've got the right plumbers as targets. Make sure they do service work and target on residential plumbers. Service, residential. We also talk about shadow plumbers. I don't know by the time that I release this video if I've got something out on shadow plumbers yet or not, but just go to YouTube and search shadow plumbers for water damage and you should find my video if it's out yet, okay? But I'll make sure I've got one. But shadow plumbers is a good one. We teach you guys what a shadow plumber is and how to find them, and that's all in our 30-day test drive. You can go to workwithshane.com, fill that information out, and I can tell you about that. The shadow plumbers are going to be people that you can't find easily on the front page of Google, okay? They operate in the shadows. That's why targeting shadow plumbers is going to matter. You remember we were talking earlier about, are they prostitutes or are they going to be church girls? If they advertise actively or advertising to get plumbing jobs for service work, then you can trust that they probably want leads because they're spending money out of their pocket to get leads. But if you find them off Google Maps and they're not spending money to get leads, there might be a reason why. They might just do construction. And so now you understand why paying them a referral fee or trying to send them leads for service work will not work, because hell, they don't do that type of stuff. But you didn't take enough time to learn, did you? So you got to pick the right ones out, okay? Now the second thing you're going to need is the Plumber Script. So I will show you that in a second, okay? But the Plumber Script is going to be, what do you need to do and say from those plumbers, all right? So we're going to go ahead and open this up right now. And let's take a look at the Plumber Script. As you see in the Plumber Script, so there's a few key components you need here. You've got the open, you've got to explain who you are, why you're calling them. Think about it. If I go call you and I say something, the first thing they're going to think of is, hello, thank you for calling, how can I help you? And then you got to say something, who are you and what do you need? Who are you and what do you need? That's the first question in their mind, and this Plumber Script is designed to get you past that. So this is one of the things that we would say. Hey, this is Shane. I was wondering if you might be able to help me out. I was looking for plumber service work and I found your number. Do you guys do emergency service work? Okay, great. You like hook up water heaters or whatever. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to pose as a customer, not as a solicitor. Why? Because you want to know, do they do this thing that you're looking for? Do they work on leaking pipes, leaking dishwashers, leaking appliances? Okay, that's how you want to do it. And the first thing you want to do is get through your open. Okay, once you get past the open, then you got to explain who you are and what you need, right? And guys, I've got videos of me calling this stuff, right? Like there's actual videos of me going through this in one of our programs. You can go to workwithshane.com and watch those, or we can get those to you. But you need to be able to identify who you are. They're going to want to know who are you and how can I help you, etc. And I would typically say, great. Well, the reason why I'm calling is because I was wondering if you guys can relocate a water heater. Can you relocate a water heater, like into the garage? And what you're really trying to do is ask them a series of questions. Do you do this type of work? Do you do service work? Do you guys see leaking water heaters? Can you relocate that water heater from inside the house to the garage? Their answer is going to be yes or no, or maybe. And you're going to say, well, here's the reason why I ask. Sometimes these things go bad. Have you ever seen that happen? Like it'll go peeing all in the house. You ever seen a water heater pop-off valve go bad when it's located inside the laundry room? And if they have, they're going to be like, yeah, it's a dang mess. I'm like, tell me about it. So what do y'all do? Do y'all clean them up? Do y'all dry them out yourself, or what do y'all do? Now you're using the Plumber Script to get some information from them, okay? So again, you just need to have a predetermined script, and like, this is just literally what we go through, okay? Do you refer any other restoration companies? Great. How does it work? Is there a referral fee? How long you work with them? Who'd you work with before that? Do you work with one or more than one? Like, it's not linear, okay? This is more like a tree branch of a conversation. Here's what I'm telling you. You need to have some type of predetermined script so you know what to do next, a flow chart. Do you follow me? That's what you're going to need. If you guys, like I said, you want this, you can go to workwithshane.com. We can talk about that, all right? So, but that's the next thing you're going to do. Have a way to get past the gatekeeper and talk to somebody that can answer these questions, okay? The next thing we've got is triangulating questions. So this is a little CRM that we give our clients. We actually use it for ourselves too, okay? And you've got to find a way to build a plumber profile. You want to build a plumber profile. And again, this is just our little CRM where we stick like that Plumber Script. It winds up staying right up here as a clickable link. So we're able to make notes. You can click that and then the Plumber Script to open up, okay? But like, so over here, this is where they'll have their contact information, and this is where the business name will be, okay? So you just need to have a place to build a plumber profile. So the company might be @me plumbing, and then you need to have a place to put these answers. And here's some core questions that you need to have identified. And these aren't in any specific order, okay? But you need to know, what do you do when you see these now? And usually the options are going to be referred one and only one, refer more than one, tell them to get fixed, but they don't refer somebody. You need to have a way to answer this and a place to store that, okay? Then you need to know, what do they want as an incentive? Do they want leads for their business, Google reviews, nothing, take care of my customer, a referral fee? What is their current referral fee? Is it under 300, 300, 500, over 500? You need to know this. And then you see these questions. Why did they first refer you? Why? You need to have this answered. Why did they stop referring the other company? Guys, these are triangulating questions. Do you follow me? And here's the reason why this stuff matters. You're probably not going to get everything from them on day one, okay? If you can't get all that information from them on day one, where are you going to store all that information? And that is where the CRM comes in, okay? Where you're going to need something. I don't care if you write it in a notebook, okay? This is just software we give our clients, all right? But you need to have a place to put the answers from that Plumber Script. Why? Because you're probably not going to get all that information in one day. And so you need to be able to go back and revert to it. Now for us, we have all the calls to get recorded and everything else. I'm going to tell you to have a call tracking software, and we've got that ability here, and you can too, all right? But you need to know what questions to ask. You need to know where to put that information. Those are going to be very important, all right? And triangulating questions. So here's why the triangulating questions matter before we get out of here. Let me think of a scenario. What the triangulating questions are going to do is this. It's going to tell you if they're lying to you or not. You're asking questions that don't really appear to be conflicting, but they will. They're checking for contradictions. So for instance, you might have one plumbing company that might says, what do you do when you see these now? And they might say, we don't refer anybody, but they want a referral fee. Well, like, that doesn't make any sense, because every plumbing company out there has probably already been offered a referral fee, okay? Or it might be another situation where they might say, what do you want in exchange for referrals? And then you've got leads selected, but they're thinking about taking referral fees. Like, that's just a bullshit answer, okay? Like, that's telling me that they're not telling you anything. They're trying to get you out of their hair. And that's what we do in our coaching programs. Is I go in and I look at that data. That's what you need to do. You have to go back and look at those answers and see when they're lying to you. So wrapping everything up, what do you need to do to build a successful plumbing program? Ultimately, you got to find out what they want and give it to them. That could be money. That could be leads. It could be free dryouts. It could be a combination of any three. Whatever it is, you got to find out what it is they want, and then you got to give it to them. Again, and then the biggest mistakes, not knowing what they really want. You need to know what they really want. Secondly, don't assume that you know what they want. Don't assume that they're all the same, because they're not. The third big problem is not having the right targets to begin with. You're not after the right plumbers. That's a really big problem. Number 4, people underestimating what it takes to build $1 million relationship. You can't underestimate that. And then number 5, it can't be about the money. You can't let it be about that money, bruh. It's got to be about more than money. And then the biggest challenge is finding out what they actually want. Big problem. The second big problem, how are you going to differentiate yourself from others? How are you going to get them to send you the first job? How are you going to find out why they sent you that first job? And then finally, guys, the keys for success, make sure you've got your script, ask triangulating questions, and just find out what they want and give it to them. Ultimately, you got to be more valuable to them than they are to you. If you want to know more, go to workwithshane.com. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. Number 1, if you haven't yet, click on my face below and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, we put out new content each and every week. Also, if you want me to help you grow your company, go to workwithshane.com. Workwithshane.com, put in your information, we can get on a call and see how we can help you grow your company. Lastly, there'll be some other videos right here. If you want to watch more content about growing your restoration company, check out one of these videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.